Ladies and gentlemen, all rise. Court is back in session. Welcome to another exciting episode of The Devil's Due. I am your host, Carl Duty. With me, as always, is a man who is partly metal, partly real, Mr. Drew Celestino.
Partly metal?
Partly metal.
That's fair.
Because you have to also be partly real.
Fair enough. Oh, okay. Literally metal.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We're not being figurative.
No.
Okay.
I mean, if we're being figurative, you're all metal, sir.
I appreciate that, but the metal community would disagree with you. But that's okay, because I don't care what they think.
Do you recognize where that's from, though?
No.
Partly metal, partly real, silver.
Oh, yeah. Then the dude with the guitar with the
Yeah.
Hellboy hat, because that makes sense in space.
Well, of course.
They make sense in Silverhawks. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I've come to the conclusion that if I can't think of a quippy intro for you, I'm just going to use old taglines from 80s cartoons.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Works for me.
See if I can stump you. We've had 3 so far. I think they've all worked out well.
I got that Centurion one to my shock. But yeah, cool.
All right, dude, we are back.
We are.
We are back.
We are back.
We are back together again.
Yeah.
It's weird. This time, like, we've gone longer in between recordings in the past, but for some reason, this time seemed longer than past.
Well, I was away.
I missed you.
There's a time zone change.
Yeah, and maybe it's the whole, last week's episode had nothing to do with me or
No, it was very much it was a very odd episode.
It was a fun episode. I loved listening to it. It was interesting going into an episode of our show not knowing what was going to be discussed. Crossing my fingers that we would stay family friendly.
I like to think that we have set the over time we have set the boundaries and I've adhered to them.
And I appreciate that.
And I think I have learned them, and I can now impart them onto others.
I will say this though, under normal circumstances, the sound of chewing drives me crazy.
Ah.
When it's being shoved into my ears by my Bose headphones. Because you guys couldn't be bothered to finish your dang meal before you started the podcast?
We had to crush that In-N-Out burger.
Oh, it was driving me crazy.
Well, I'm sorry.
That's right. All right, so.
We were in a hallway. That's the best I could do with the sound quality.
Yeah, this is another thing I was wondering about. Like, they didn't have just a side room or like a conference room or something?
We had to pay to use it.
Oh, that's messed up.
Yeah, so we were looking around like, where are we going to go? And the thing is, everywhere we went, if it didn't have...
It was like really late at night, though.
Yeah, it was like after midnight, but the door's locked for the conference room, so you had to pay to get in there. So this one guy who worked at the hotel showed us to this it's like, there's this area of the hallway where no one really goes, and you guys can just, go in there. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Because I was like, no one's there, cool. So we sit down, we get ready to go, and they have, it's a hotel, and even at all hours of the evening, they've got music playing in the hallways, and it was just loud enough to picked up on the recorder. And I'm like, oh god, I can't deal with this. So we walked around the hotel for a little bit, trying to find a quiet spot.
Yeah, and
we found the quietest spot we could. But even then, there was like a cool. It was right by one of the stores in the hotel, so I could hear the cooler, the store, hum. The hum of the cooler. I'm just like, oh god, I hope this doesn't drive everyone crazy. At one point, there was this weird guy using the ATM behind us, and I'm like, how long do you think your average ATM transaction takes?
Minute, 2 minutes.
This guy was back there for 15 minutes.
Jeez.
I'm just like, what's he doing? What's going on back there? Is he gonna murder me?
Is he gonna murder me?
Maybe he's really enamored by the conversation about NJPW. I don't know.
Quite possibly. It could be considered the first live Devil's Due show.
To that guy at the ATM.
Well, we start small. We build on what we
Sure.
So I just want to say a big thanks to J. Gelsomino for helping us out with that episode. I know you guys had a blast doing it, and I appreciate. Because I hate to leave the people without the sounds.
We had so much fun.
We avoid it when we can. We're going to have Jay back on very, very soon.
We were buzzing the whole time we were there. It was magic. So,
and that leads us into opening statements, sir. How was your week?
Okay. So, I guess do we have to back up to Cali and Seattle and all right.
I would say fill us in on Cali non-wrestling related.
Okay,
'cause that was
non-wrestling.
all- You filled us all in on that last week.
We sure did, and
I'm glad you had a good time.
it was incredible. It was just so much fun. So, Callie, I've determined that I've been to LA twice now.
Yes.
I do not need to go again. That is not to say that it's bad. That's not to say that, I have some kind of grudge against the city or anything. It's just that I've been there twice.
Is it a perfectly cromulent city?
Look, I think of like New York.
Yes.
And I've been to New York no less than 10, 12 times.
Yeah.
Maybe more. And I'm never lacking for like what to do.
Yeah.
I've been to LA twice, and like I thought the first time I missed some things, so I kind of filled in the blanks this time.
Yep.
I checked my itinerary. I'm doing the Googles. Like, what are the absolute must dos of LA? I've done it all. We ran out of stuff. Okay, we're good here. Now, a resident of LA would be like, dude, you have no idea. There's this and that. And it's like, yes, you might be right, but your traffic is god awful, and I'm not going to be hunting down these things. It's going to take me an hour to drive a mile just to find whatever it is that you want me to go to. But in any case, I don't mean to disparage LA. It's a fine city. It's fun. The first day I was there, a friend of mine, my guitar builder friend from San Diego, actually drove up from San Diego, and it timed out where I was going to be able to meet him in Los Angeles that morning. So the wife brought a friend to LA. So I was like, well, they wanted to do touristy stuff, and I was kind of like, well, I don't need to see the Hollywood Walk of Fame again because it's kind of trashy anyway. Spoilers for those who've never been there; it's really not that great. So if you want to take her and go do the the touristy stuff, drop me off at this location, and I'll roll with my boy from San Diego for a little while, and then we'll meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
So we did that. I got dropped off at ESP USA headquarters in California. ESP is a guitar manufacturer.
Okay.
Japanese guitar manufacturer. They're the best. They're among the best in the world, in my opinion. But they have a USA shop and import and headquarters in LA. I didn't get to go inside, but I did get to see the outside. I'll take what I can get.
Was it not for lack of trying?
I didn't want to push my luck. They were probably, I don't want to get in trouble in LA. LAPD and
You're white.
yeah, but I don't want to push my luck is all. So, in any case, that was kind of cool. Got to see the outside. I got to meet their master painter who was going to be painting a guitar from my builder friend that he brought up. They were all very impressed with it, which was kind of cool because I knew Rob's work was really good. So now ESP agrees, apparently.
Nice.
But we got to keep that on the down low. Anyway, oops.
We got to keep it on. So we're putting on a podcast.
Anyway, from there, we hit up the rock shops, and this is stuff that the girls had no interest in, but I have interest in. So we went to to Sunset, and on Sunset there is
limestone, quartz, the usual rock.
What?
That was a dad joke.
Okay, it's good.
Bad one.
I missed it. Can't be that good. Anyway,
I never said it was good. I simply said it was.
I got to hit up the Great Big Guitar Center on Sunset and the Sam Ash as well. Very fine. Fine. Put it this way: the Guitar Center that we have here in Buffalo, the two of them,
yes,
are like the most Walmart pale imitations of Los Angeles. Los Angeles' Guitar Center is like the Guitar Center.
I mean, there's a reason, LA rock scene and all things like that. Yeah, of course it's going to be better.
They have real things there, like things that people would really want to buy. Gotcha. So it was pretty cool. Sam Ash, the same thing. And then we went to the Mesa Boogie store. Mesa Boogie is my amplifier brand of choice, and they have a little shop right in Los Angeles, right across the street from the Guitar Center, and we got to rock out on a couple amps for a little while, which was kind of fun. And then Rob and I parted ways, and I departed, and I met the girls at the La Brea Tar Pits. Perhaps you've heard of them in California, the tar pits?
Yeah.
They are tar pits.
Well, yeah.
Animals have died in those tar pits.
Yeah.
Strolled around a little museum. It was kind of cool. Interesting. Something to see in LA that I had not seen previously.
Yeah.
We're driving around some neighborhood, the neighborhood of that area. I'm like, oh, this is a cute little neighborhood. And then, I look on Trulia or Zillow or whatever, like as I'm driving, I'm like, oh, these houses are $4 million. They're smaller than mine.
It's you're in California.
LA, man. It's bizarro world. I got some really awesome, authentic burrito and Mexican food at a little hole in the wall joint.
Those are the best ones.
And how I had a burrito the size of my forearm.
Nice.
And I ate it. Somehow I ate it. We bopped around the city a little bit more. We did the Universal City Walk. I think I told you about that.
Okay.
Universal City Walk is it's like an outdoor shopping mall. Very mall. But outdoors.
Like corporate mall? Or...
Yeah.
Right,
yeah. So, you know, your Margaritavilles.
Yeah.
And your
New
Voodoo
Age
Donuts
creations.
apparently is a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, the wife had to have Voodoo Donuts. We waited in line for 20 minutes for Voodoo Donuts.
Was it worth the wait?
$30 a dozen.
Oh! Dude, you get like...
We didn't get a dozen.
You get a dozen Paulas for like $10.
Yeah, well, and Paulas are better. Spoilers.
Good.
I'm laying that gauntlet out to all my LA folk. Paula's Donuts are far superior. In any case, it was neat. They're all themed, and they put Captain Crunch on them, and $30.
Okay, I can get behind a donut with Captain Crunch on it.
For $4 a donut?
You know, I'm not saying I can get behind it all the time. I'm just saying, you know, for a singular experience, sure.
We had an experience. So we just kind of did that, killed some time, and then went out to El Segundo, which is just south of LAX, the airport. El Segundo is we're getting outside of LA proper, downtown or whatever. And we went to the El Segundo Brewing Company, where I met my aunt and her friend. They from San Francisco. They flew down to meet us in Los Angeles and hung out with us for the evening and for most of the following day. We had a great time. It's good to see them, as always. So I went to El Segundo, had a few beers. Went back to our hotel in Huntington Beach, which is about, in a normal place, it's a 10 to 15 minute drive between Los Angeles and Huntington Beach.
Okay.
In LA traffic, it's a 45 minute to an hour drive because it's Los Angeles. Doesn't make any sense, and I can't fathom. Anyway, we had an excellent beachfront resort, but we couldn't really go out on the beach because it was actually like in the low to mid 60s at the warmest while we were there.
Hey, that's like Buffalo summer there, man.
Don't disparage Buffalo summers like that. Come
Been
on.
like out in shorts and swimming in the ocean.
In the sun, it was nice, but definitely not what I would call beach weather. But that didn't stop most people. Walked the boardwalk. Main Street in Huntington Beach has a ton of shops and restaurants, and it was a scene. There was like a classic car show, outdoor classic car show going down the whole street. Yeah. So it was just a lot of people, a lot of activity, good time. Just hanging out with my aunt and her friend, and it was cool. So that kind of wrapped up L.A. more or less after the show. We departed the next day for Seattle and went to Seattle, Washington, where I'd never been before. Spoilers: it's gray and it rains.
I like it already.
if its reputation is well earned. Having said that, it's actually a really cool city. Very cool city. It's got everything you could ever want in a big city. Expensive, mind you, if you're going to be downtown. But great museums, very walkable. Pike Place Market, it's a gigantic outdoor, indoor market. It's like what the Broadway market here wishes it could be.
Okay.
So we went to the art museum, which I thoroughly enjoyed. The wife could have cared less, but I enjoyed the art museum very much.
Okay.
We went to the Mopop Museum, which we both enjoyed. And
Mopop.
Yes. So it used to be the EMP, the Experience Music Project, back in 2000 when they opened, and it was strictly limited to music. Jimi Hendrix being from Seattle, Nirvana being a Seattle band. It was kind of centered on music, but they've since expanded their scope. And now it's kind of a pop cultural museum. So the Jimi Hendrix wing is still there with a lot of great costumes, guitars, and photographs and whatnot, history. The Nirvana wing is still there, and it's exhaustive, and it's really, really, really cool. But they also have a sci-fi wing, which I loved. So they had props, costumes, and replica items on display from like Terminator, Aliens, the Alien franchise, Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars, Firefly.
What they have from Star Wars?
Lightsabers.
Ooh.
Yeah. Couple hilts.
Whose did they have?
Darth Vader's and Luke's, actually.
Luke's Star Wars
not the
Empire,
green one.
or-
Not the green
so
one.
not Jedi.
Yeah,
okay.
not Jedi. Empire and OG.
The green one's kind of my favorite.
It's neat. Yeah, it's good design. All kinds of stuff. They had a horror exhibit as
Ooh.
well. That was kind of cool. And so they had actual screen worn costumes from Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger. They had an alien xenomorph costume from the first Alien movie.
Ooh.
It was pretty dope looking. I got
Nice.
some great pictures of it up close. It's really sweet. And like the history of horror, they had a little vampire lore area where it's like you could learn all about the origins of everything in the vampire lore. You kind of learn where it all came from, like the garlic and the holy symbols and
Yeah.
the native soil where they have to rest and all that stuff. It was interesting. It was pretty cool. And they have an entire floor of Star Trek, because Gene Roddenberry, I guess, is also from Seattle, I think. So
Okay.
there was a whole floor of Star Trek stuff, screen-worn costumes
Nice.
from the original series and subsequent series
Yeah.
as well. Props, replica ships hanging from the ceiling, full scale, very
Nice.
large, really cool. They had a Romulan warbird actual screen-used model, and the
Sweet.
one that they used for the show, Next Generation. It was very, very cool. I'm a TNG OG Star Trek kind of guy, so I really enjoyed it. And then I got there a little too early though, because next month would have been the time for me to go to the Mopop Museum.
Oh.
April 21st, the Marvel Cinematic Universe exhibit opens, and I alas was not there then. I missed it.
Unfortunate.
So if you're in the Seattle area in the coming weeks, look for that. It's really cool. It's right in the shadow of the Space Needle. You can walk from the Space Needle to the museum, about 2-minute walk.
Now, if memory serves, Drew, Nintendo of America is also headquartered in Seattle, Washington.
Redmond, Washington, which is about a 20 to 30-minute drive away.
How was that?
I didn't go.
What?
We don't have a car, man. I couldn't just Uber. I mean, I could have just Ubered there, I suppose, but they don't have any sort of tour or
You at least go and touch the building, sir.
No. There would have had to have been some kind of reception for people there for me to have to go out there. Otherwise, I'm just getting in the way.
You should have just given them your friend code.
I don't even know my friend code, and it wouldn't work out so well. So no, I did not get to Nintendo, unfortunately. But I did see in El Segundo. It's funny, they had apparently Konami is headquarters there. I did see Square Enix's building as well in El Segundo. The adorable thing about Konami being listed on the El Segundo's like descriptions, like, oh, this video game company. I'm like, video games? They don't make video games. They make pachinko machines.
Yeah.
And they squat on franchises that were once great. Konami makes video games. You silly El Segundo paper I read.
Silly rabbit.
If only you knew. Anyway, yeah, man, Seattle was pretty cool. We had a hotel snafu, which I will spare you the details of, but luckily my friend and his wife basically bailed us out of trouble with our hotel. I'll explain later.
It's not an exciting story, but a story worth telling.
It's a story.
There's
a scam going on, I'll tell you that right now, but we ain't gonna go there. Everything worked out in the end. And I saw my other two aunts who live in the Pacific Northwest. My one aunt lives in Bainbridge Island, which is a 30-minute ferry ride from Seattle to Bainbridge Island. And my other aunt lives in Port Angeles, which is about a 2-hour drive, which she drove to Bainbridge, and we all had dinner together, and it was really cool, because I really don't get to see that side of my family very often, so it was nice to see them all in person. And then I flew home, and with as little jet lag as possible.
nice.
So here I am. I'm back, and I'm back to work. Unfortunately, when I got back, it was no rest for the wicked, because the floor started getting installed today upstairs.
Yeah, the house is
We were in a state of disarray, are we not?
Little bit.
So when I got back, it was immediately like, okay, Dad, come over because we have to finish putting in this electric into the front there. We had to put a electric receptacle or electrical box into the ceiling in the front room there to accommodate the chandelier because I'm flipping the dining. I think I've talked about this before. So that's in now. We had to wire the switch that's out in the wall. We had to repair a little wiring that we intended to use but didn't end up using in the kitchen. So I ended up destroying a huge portion of my wall in the kitchen for no good reason whatsoever. I'm not mad. It's just work I have to do now.
Folks, it's an audio medium, but if you could see Drew's face, you would understand that the statement, I'm not mad, is a lie.
It's one of those things where when we realized what we could have done, it was just like, well, poo.
Yep.
It's okay. It's all good.
It's all right.
We took care of it. So that was like the day after I got back, literally. Like, yeah, let's do all this work, and okay, it's got to get done.
Yep.
So now the floors are going in, but before the floors could go in, I had to finish tearing up some more of the last remnants of the carpet that were up there. So that was a bulk of the weekend as well. And we also had to empty out the dressers. As you see these trash bags in front of you here in this room right now, they're full of my clothing from my dresser to make the dresser much lighter so that it can be easily movable as they are up there doing the work.
Yep.
Brought a bunch of stuff down, end tables and other things that are, taking up space up there, so they could have as much working area as possible, and they can move. They can get the job done with moving as few things as possible. So they got halfway done today. They're coming back tomorrow to finish up. I hope they finish tomorrow anyway. Looks really good so far. I'm very happy, but all this has to get done. And there's reasons why it has to get done, Carl.
It seems like you're in a bit of a rush. You're on some sort of clock.
Well, I am. So all these, projects I'm doing, as I monopolize the whole front half of the show here, they're like 5 years in the making. Been thinking about them. Yeah, I'll get to that. I'll do this. Yeah, I'll do that. Well, there's a hard deadline coming up, Carl, where all this has to get done, and now it's getting done. So I guess this is like where I have to kind of just, throw this at everyone. So I've been biting my tongue since like Christmas about this, I think.
Yeah.
And I commend everyone involved who has not spilled the beans, including you. So I am spawning, Carl.
Woo!
Oh, my Lord. Wow. Okay. That was loud in my headphones.
That's why I didn't do it directly.
I will compress that in post so it doesn't kill the listeners. Yeah, we're having a youngling.
Yay! Drew and Jenna are having a baby! Woohoo!
Yeah, it's kind of a big deal.
Congratulations, sir.
Why, thank you, sir.
So happy for you. So happy for you both.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You've been good about keeping this under wraps.
Taking your first steps to a larger world.
So I hear. Yeah. So that's what's going on. September.
Awesome.
That was part of the reason why we were out west as well. Granted, the original plan was to get into LA, go to NJPW, and come home. Going to be a long weekend. That's it.
Yep.
But then it was like, well, if we can get my aunt to come down from San Francisco, which she did, we got to tell her in person. It was awesome. While we're on the West Coast, we might not get over there again. Let's go to Seattle and tell my aunts up in person up there too. And we did that as well. So
awesome.
Came back Easter Sunday. We told the rest of my family who did not know. I can't believe my mother didn't tell anybody. I'm stunned. I'm proud of her. That's great. I'm just stunned is all. No one could believe it either in the family. Like, your mother didn't say anything? Oh my God. Like, I know. It's an Easter miracle.
Yeah.
She's been holding on to that since Christmas. So, we went public with all the informations last night.
I saw.
Yeah.
Some cool pictures.
Yeah.
So where's your head at right now? What's all going through your head with this radical change of life impending?
I'm good. I'm good. I just want to get all this house work done. Once the house is done, I'll be good. I'm just more in a state of stress about getting all this work done for the child first.
Okay.
Dude, I've had so many years to make my peace with this that at this point it's like, yep, let's do it. I'm all good here.
You could have 100 lifetimes and not be ready for the emotional changes going to take place.
Yeah,
in
you know,
your heart and mind.
everyone keeps putting this on me, and it's like I hear you, I understand.
It's one of those things that cannot be put into words; it can only be experienced.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure plenty of your friends and family have tried.
They all have said the same things.
I'm just going to be interested in sitting back and watching what happens.
And you will. So that's me. What's up with you?
So well, you're always a tough act to follow, sir.
I'm sorry. I should go last.
Let's see. It was just a couple weeks. Did a lot of catching up on the Road to Infinity War.
I was just gonna ask.
A lot of catching up.
So how's that going?
So okay, the last film we left off with was Avengers 2. Watch that.
Okay, upon review,
it's fun. The flaws are still there.
Okay,
I mean, Avengers 1
bad
is
rap.
still much better. Yeah, you know what? It all depends on how you approach the Avenger films. I always approach them as that they're the annual comic.
Yeah,
the one that just kind of throws everything together. It's not necessarily a resolution of anything, but just it's fun. There are flaws in the story, like how did Ultron have time to build this massive jet propulsion system under the city, seeing as he's been alive for like a week?
Well, but he had drones, Carl.
But the characters are still great, and my biggest complaint about the film is that I really wish that Ultron was an evolution throughout the film, not instantly who he was
fully
for
formed.
the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
So other than that, it's fine. It's great. A lot of fun. Next one up is Ant-Man.
Okay.
And this film just does not get the love I think it should get. It is such a great...
I think it's loved. I don't think it's good, and it's better than anyone thought it would ever be.
You know what's funny?
I enjoy it. I really enjoy
it. It's really good. You know what's funny? You watch the intro of that film, and you see like the de-aged Michael Douglas.
Yes.
And you can't tell. Like, I had to rub my eyes for a couple times first. I'm like, is that makeup or like, no, it's CG.
Yeah.
And then you think of Henry Cavill's mustache from Justice League. Like,
oh, I have a story for you.
They did an entire person for like 5-6 minutes, whatever, how long he was on screen, and it was incredible and seamless, and you couldn't tell that it wasn't like Wall Street era Michael Douglas. And Warner Brothers couldn't even do an upper lip.
Dude, so I got to catch some of Justice League on the plane.
Yeah?
It's not good.
Still not good.
Still not good. Like, upon further review, it's like, man, this is not good. This is really not good. How did you screw this up?
Yeah.
Let me count the ways.
Yep.
And yeah, that mustache removal. What was going on there?
Yeah, I don't know. But so yeah, Ant-Man, great, a lot of fun, good. Like, I can't relate as much to Ant-Man because it's a father-daughter story.
Yeah,
because I can relate to like Guardians of the Galaxy and the other father-son stories in the MCU. But yeah, Ant-Man was good. Next up was Civil War. Civil War holds up very well.
I would hope.
It's still great. It's not better than Winter Soldier, but it's still like really solid. You know how I've always complained about Spider-Man not having his spider sense in Homecoming?
Yes.
They kind of allude to him having it in Civil War.
Allude or show? Like, I don't remember.
When they throw the car at him from behind, you see his eyes get real big, like he doesn't turn around, and it's a spider sense moment.
Oh. He might have it but not know it yet. Yeah. It seems that way. Like, he just doesn't know he has it yet.
Yeah. But no, it's still like it's again the kind of where everything for the MCU changes.
Yeah.
Just in the way that Winter Soldier was as well.
Sure. The big stuff happens in Cap.
Yeah. And which is strange because when you think about it, like, we haven't even touched on anything. The first time we're going to touch on stuff that happened in Civil War is going to be Avengers Infinity War. Because from there on out, it's like, it's not having to deal with any characters other than Spider-Man that were involved
in Civil
War.
Yeah, true.
So next up was Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Still great. Love it. Fantastic. I've seen a couple articles online saying that Doctor Strange doesn't necessarily need a film sequel as much as he needs a Netflix series.
Yeah, see, that's going to be problematic for a lot of reasons, I think.
Yeah.
I don't disagree, but I don't see it happening.
So yeah. Next up is Guardians 2. Getting ready for a good ugly cry.
Apparently Guardians 2 is not aging well with the fans, and I enjoyed it just fine.
Yeah, I don't.
In fact, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I don't understand that. So that was the Marvel films, but I finally got a chance because I picked up both Thor Ragnarok and Star Wars Last Jedi in one Best Buy trip. Finally got a chance to sit down and watch Last Jedi again.
I got to get on top of this. I'm so behind. I got to get all these Blu-rays.
It's so good.
So
it's so good.
Last Jedi?
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear you say that.
It's so good.
I
like even the stuff that I bumped up against in the first viewing didn't bother me nearly as much. Like the Canto Bite, all the stuff that goes on there, I enjoyed it more this time around because I kind of understood like we need to give this character something to do and we need a break from these other storylines. I highly, for anybody who wants to, definitely get the Blu-rays because the bonus features, I rarely watch bonus features on films anymore. The Director and the Jedi documentary and the Power of the Force documentary, fantastic. Because they don't shy away from anything. Like, they fully address that Mark Hamill was not crazy about the direction Rian Johnson took Luke in.
Sure.
Which I still, everything with Luke in that film, I was like, give me more. The Power of the Force documentary is it's like a mini doc, and it's just this great thing about he kind of puts into words what he did, and something that I've been saying for years that The Last Jedi kind of validated was that he said, I didn't want to make the Force a superpower. I was like, yes.
So what is it then?
It's a natural element of life and existence.
Which was explained in the originals. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. I got that.
He said like the Force had kind of become a superpower.
Yes.
To do things with, and that's not the case.
Yeah, well, old George kind of did that, and
So
anyway.
So yeah, Last Jedi, that was awesome. We didn't have game night Friday night. You were tired. It seemed everyone was tired and whatnot. Trying to think of what else. Oh, I borrowed from you before you left. I borrowed from you Splatoon 2.
Yes, you did.
On Switch. Now, not only have I been playing that like crazy, but the wife has gotten into it.
Oh, boy.
This is a woman whose only game I've ever seen her play on a console is Tetris.
Well.
And she got in this because William, my 2-year-old, we have a routine now when we get home from work. When I bring him in the house and take off his coat and whatnot, and he sees the dogs and gets knocked down by Diego, and they roll around for a bit, and then he sees his mother and hugs everything. At some point, he comes up to me and lifts his arms up. That's his, universal signal for pick me up, pick me up. As soon as I pick him up, he starts pointing. I know where he's pointing. He's pointing direction into the living room. And as soon as we get into the living room, he starts doing this, like the reaching out with the Force, like,
Okay.
The second I pick up the Switch controller, he's like, he's all happy because he loves watching Splatoon.
It's very colorful and exciting.
And when I put in those in-between matches where the buttons just make random noises and whatnot.
Well, they control you can remix the soundtrack.
Yeah, I just kind of give him the controller and he just kind of goes nuts with it.
All right.
So yeah, Splatoon 2, bring joy to the masses.
Are you guys playing online competitively?
Yes. Yeah, that's all I play.
It's fun.
So
that's awesome.
Right,
that's good to hear.
Yes, indeedy. Might be a while before you get that one back. Not gonna lie.
If I can recommend something, I know you're gonna scoff at it just because you always do. But for that game, Pro Controller. Your aiming will be tight.
Well, you know what? It is very difficult to play in portable mode. Splatoon. It's just kind of the way you have to hold the Switch.
Yeah.
But playing it on the puppy dog,
yes,
is fine. I have no problems with it.
You'll get much more accurate range of motion with some pro sticks, but just saying.
Yeah. I'm very excited because Hori is making a Switch controller that has a
D-pad.
Traditional D-pad.
Saw that, yeah.
So $25, yeah, I'm all in on that. Because that will actually convince me to start getting some fighting games for the Switch. Because, D-pad helps.
Yeah, totally.
Did
I tell you that I got some more Super Nintendo games coming this week, actually?
What do you have coming?
I bought a nice little lot. Doom, Final Fight, Killer Instinct.
Final Fight or Final Fight Guy?
Final Fight, the OG. Sorry, Guy. You have to wait for the next one. Final Fight Guy is actually a very pricey cart, so I'll get around to that one. That's on the wish list for now.
Yeah.
Flashback. A very cool game.
Yep.
Turtles in Time.
Sweet.
Mario All-Stars. And I think there's one more, but I can't, off the top of my head, remember what it is. But I got a nice little game lot coming.
Nice.
There was a White Whale that I could have had too.
Oh.
But it would have shot the cost of the bundle up about $200.
What's that?
Earthbound. OG cart.
Yep.
I almost did it.
You got it on your SNES Classic.
I do, and I have it on the Wii U.
The important thing is having the game, not having the cart.
Yeah, but it's nice to have.
You gotta get used to not having things.
No.
Yep.
This is no.
But the good thing is you're not going to mind not having things.
I think I'll mind, but it's okay. It's okay.
This is like someone who hasn't gone to boot camp yet telling someone who's been on a couple tours in Iraq like how it's going to go. So you have fun with that.
I'm going to dig in as deep as I can.
Yeah. All right, folks, that was our weeks. If you would like to tell us about your week, send us any questions or comments, which many of you have, and we thank you for that. You can find us at the following locations. You can go to Twitter and follow us at Devils Do Pod. You can go to Facebook.com/Devils Do Pod. You can email us at thedevilsdopod@gmail.com, or you can find all these resources available to you on our website, thedevilsdopodcast.com. Drew, that being said, we have some listener questions.
Okay.
Starting out from Mr. Brian Budnick. Now, I read this, and I think not only have we answered this question before, but I think Brian was actually the one who asked this question before.
Okay.
But, it was a while ago. Might have forgotten. No problem there. Good evening, gentlemen. A few episodes ago, the topic of old video games came up. During this discussion, you compared two 8-bit classics, Blades of Steel and Ice Hockey.
Mm-hmm.
As we both know, have their merits, but you spent some time discussing how great it is that in ice hockey, you get to choose the size of your players, skinny, medium, or large. That got me thinking. If each of you had to put together a hockey team made of Marvel characters, who would you choose?
This rings a bell.
Here's a caveat.
Oh.
You must choose 5 players and 1 goalie. Of the 5 players, you must choose at least one of the 3 sizes. Skinny, medium, or large.
Oh, wow.
1 skinny, 2 medium, 2 large, however. Please keep in mind that the characters cannot be used more than once, meaning you both can't choose Daredevil, for example. Dibs on Daredevil is my goalie. Perhaps a draft would be the best way to accomplish this. X credit if you choose coach as well. Looking forward to responses. Keep up the good work.
I'm a sucker for a good draft.
Yeah, but just off the top of my head, I called dibs on Daredevil as my goalie. Wilson Fisk is my head coach.
Okay. It's pretty good.
Yep. I'm going to need an enforcer. I'm going to kind of go off some obvious choices and go with Ben Grimm. The Thing is going to be my enforcer.
Okay.
You need a scorer. Probably go Russian. They know how to score.
But they also know how to choke in the playoffs.
True.
When the chips are down, they also know how to turtle.
Yeah.
Unless they're, what's his name? The guy from Pittsburgh.
Sidney Crosby.
No,
He's Canadian.
the other guy in Pittsburgh.
Not Sidney Crosby.
The Russian, the guy who has stats as good, but the Russian guy. Tip of my tongue, it's gonna drive me nuts now.
Bob Crosby.
No, everyone knows who I'm talking about. I can't think of his name, but
Neil Crosby.
no, it's not a Crosby.
Crosby.
Bing Crosby.
Bing.
David Crosby.
Well, I'll go with Nightcrawler.
Sure.
His teleporting ability.
Yeah.
Kinda, so I got a skinny guy and a big guy. Medium guy. I don't know. Spider-Man, I guess.
Oh, I was gonna use Spidey. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair. I'm gonna have to call the Blob as my goalie.
Okay, yeah.
My enforcer will be Frank Castle. My scorer, let's go with Hawkeye.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Ant-Man can play on his wing. And they're kind of medium guys, right? Or are they small guys? I don't know. Ant-Man's a small guy, so there you go. That counts.
Well, to counteract your Hawkeye, I'm going with Bullseye.
There you go. Got some sharpshooters on this team.
Yeah.
Cap is my coach, by the way.
Okay.
Tactician, whatnot. I'm pretty good here. Who else can play defense for me, though?
See, I go with Wilson Fisk because he's tactician, plus he's, inspiring. Because if you don't perform,
well, Cap,
you get the car door treatment.
Yes, but Cap inspires out of good nature. He brings the best out of his players. So, yeah, there you go. I'm good here.
All right. Cool. There you go. Brian, thanks again. All right, second question from Mr. Manuel Marin, our friend in Staten Island.
Yay!
Dear Carl and Drew, I was working from my home the other day and had the TV on. My 16-year-old daughter, my goddaughter, love her to death, walked in, started flicking channels until she discovered the 1987 deeply intellectual epic Masters of the Universe.
The cartoon or the movie?
The movie.
Oh, okay.
As I sat there and listened to my teenage daughter crap on my childhood and failed to appreciate the brilliant CGI, I don't think there was any CGI.
No. Green screen and mat work.
It brought a question to my mind. If given one opportunity with a blockbuster budget, what childhood movie or show would each of you like to recreate in a non-animated format? Who would you cast? Carl, answer yours first. After Drew names his movie, let him know that as a punishment for not sending me free Long Cold Dark merch, his casting must include Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh, that's low, son. that merch ain't coming now.
Let's see, recast, remake,
recycle, reduce, reuse.
Exactly. You know what? You could make I'm going to go with what started this question, and that's Masters of the Universe, because I think you could make a friggin' awesome Masters of the Universe movie.
Well, David Goyer's got you covered there, buddy. Yeah.
And I'm getting Frank Langella to play Skeletor.
Yes.
Because that was an Oscar. That was the most Oscar-worthy performance in a horrible, horrible movie.
Manny, you tell your daughter she can crap on the movie all she wants, but she dare not cross Frank Langella as Skeletor.
No.
He is the saving grace of the whole film.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that, if you can't recognize the genius there, then your Uncle Carl's very, very disappointed in you.
All right.
So what are you going to do?
It's a no-brainer for me.
G.I. Joe?
Give me G.I. Joe. You give me a budget and G.I. Joe, I will deliver a G.I. Joe movie, son, and it will be glorious.
With Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
If I must, sure. And I'll put him, he could be dial tone, or he could, no.
What was the guy? The guy they introduced in the animated movie.
Falcon?
Yeah.
He can be Falcon.
Make him Falcon.
Yeah, the screw up that no one likes. Yes, you could be Falcon. And you're going to stay the screw up that no one likes.
I always want to say Flint, but I know it's not
I've
Flint.
already done this. I've been over this before, man. This movie is meant for me. I have ideas. I can make it relevant to today. I've mulled this over.
Yep.
It'd be great.
Would there be an aircraft carrier?
Of course there'd be an aircraft carrier. There'd be everything. I would include it all, as much as possible.
Be kind of hard for you to
I don't care if F-14s are retired.
No.
There are going to be Sky Strikers. This is happening.
Be kind of hard for me to have a reference point for the aircraft carrier, seeing as you didn't really own one as a kid. I mean, I can help you with that if you want, because I had one.
I don't think toys are going to be frames of reference here. We're going for realism. We're going for
my flies open.
Oh, thanks for that. We're going for realism here. It's going to be. I'm not going to use the term gritty rebooting, but
yeah,
I have a very
more realistic reboot. There's going to be no
take.
Cobra Law.
No,
at least until the third movie.
No, even then. No, if I did Cobra Law, I would do it the way they did it in the G.I. Joe Cobra IDW series, where they made them a religious cult sect of Cobra, the organization.
No Globulus?
There is a Globulus, but he's like the cult leader.
Oh. He's got like snake body?
No, he's just a charismatic.
No Nemesis Enforcer?
There is a Nemesis Enforcer.
Does he have bat wings?
No.
See, you're taking away all the cool parts.
That stuff is terrible. There will be a Dr. Mindbender. There will be battle android troopers.
Nice.
There will be his tanks, even though the second one, Retaliation?
Sure.
They had his tanks.
They did.
I marked out for them.
Yep.
Firefly, Zartan, a proper Zartan. The dreadnoughts will be there. We're doing all this. I've thought this through.
I know.
It's happening.
Yeah. Proper Zartan. Skin changes blue in sunlight.
Yep. He's got a skin condition. He's got a hood. Bow and arrow. A biker gang. We're going all in.
Do you have Zanzibar in it?
Yeah, sure. Xandar and Zarana too.
No, Zanzibar was like the pirate. Pirate.
Yeah, I know. He's in.
Okay, all right.
They're a gang. Road Pig, he's in.
Road Pig. Best weapon.
The cinder block on the stick. Oh, dude, hell yeah.
You need your guns. Pff. All I need is this rock on a stick.
With hockey pads.
Yep.
I can make all this work, trust me. You laugh. I'll make it work.
All right, Manny, thank you very much for your question. Next on to Mr. Alan Waiters. Carl and Drew.
I'm proud of Alan, by the way.
Why?
Because he's also had this information about the wee baby Celestino, and he has not said a word.
Good for Alan.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never known him to, leak a secret.
Just saying.
There are files. These files have documents in them. Carl and Drew, if there was an evil clone of yourselves out in the world, what question would you want your friends to ask to make sure that you are the original Drew or Carl? Well, that's tough, because if they're an evil clone of us, do they have all our memories? And like, what level of clone are we talking here?
It's the tell. It's like, Carl, tell me how much you love Spider-Man: Homecoming.
It's cromulent.
See, I know it now. Now I know that you're you. But if he says, "Oh, it's great," evil clone.
No, not. What'd you think of Spider-Man: Homecoming? Because my legit answer would be, "Oh, it's great." Would be, what'd you think of Flash Thompson?
Yeah. Let's refine that.
Terrible.
Yeah, we'll break it down. Easy. See?
Yeah. What did I think of Flash Thompson, Spider-Man: Homecoming?
Sure.
So what would they ask you then?
I don't know.
Drew, what'd you think of the Sega Genesis?
Oh, it's awesome. Best console ever. Underappreciated gem.
I think it's appreciated enough.
That's how you know I'm lying.
All right, Carl. If you were to start a comic book store, what would you do to make it thrive and different from other stores? See, that's tricky, because I have often wondered what it would take, startup capital wise and whatnot, to start a comic book store. There's even a location by my old house where I used to live that came up that would have made a perfect comic book store. But it's a very tough racket to get into. It's a reason you don't see a lot of new comic book stores out there. As far as strictly pure comic book stores go. Pulp 716 is doing their thing, and they're doing great, and that's a really cool place. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a pure comic book store, and that's not a bad thing. They are what they are, and they make no apologies for it. I think with a comic book store to make it successful, you don't necessarily need a hook, so to speak. It's all about the location. I think it's key to be in an area where kids and younger people can make it to without needing a car.
Okay.
I think that'd be huge. Like, the location I was referring to was this. I used to live by the intersection of Sweet Home and North French. And there was a 7-Eleven there that just moved. There was a gas station and a 7-Eleven right at the intersection. And the gas station closed down, and then the 7-Eleven went in and took it over. So the 7-Eleven just switched their building locations. So there was a building which was clearly identifiable as a former 7-Eleven that was vacant. It's now one of those recycle, redeem places.
I know exactly what you're talking about, actually.
Yeah.
I used to work over there.
Yeah, I looked at that like Crossroads Comics. Put the shop right in there. Neighborhood's walking distance. I know because I lived in the neighborhood. I walked at 7-Eleven many, many times where I got a lot of my Marvel trading cards from and a lot of comic books from. So yeah, I think it's because collectors our age, readers our age, we have cars. We'll drive, to a location if we like the location. If you can get like kids in there and they don't have to necessarily drive there, that's a big advantage, I think. So yeah, that's what I would do.
All right,
Drew.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when you were a kid?
Remember
when you were a kid and you thought it would be awesome about the future and how awesome Remember when you were a kid
get to the voice.
and you thought about the future and how awesome it would be. As an adult now, why is nostalgia so prominent, especially 90s nostalgia?
Well, nostalgia comes in phases. So, if you look at decade by decade, in the 80s, maybe the 80s, in the 80s, 50s nostalgia was in. Huge. If you look at movies from the 80s, man, the 50s nostalgia is raging.
Ad campaigns.
Yeah. So basically, as the generation...
Every sitcom had a doo-wop theme.
Yeah. What tends to happen, and then, so let's fast forward to the 90s. There was that little disco revival that happened. Remember that little 70s kind of boom that clicked in there for a minute?
Do my best to...
Hey, you leave disco alone, sir.
Seriously?
I know. You didn't know that about you, did you? Now you know. Disco is awesome.
There's no battle that's won by knowing this.
Disco rules. Anyway, then, we are in the midst of, we had the 80s boom. It's still kind of happening, but now the 90s boom is coming
into the overall nostalgia boom.
Yes, and now we're entering the 90s nostalgia boom. So it's kind of generational. Basically, what happens is the people from that time grow up, and when they hit, their mid-20s, possibly early 30s, right around the time they realize, oh crap, I'm not a kid anymore, and I'm getting older and have to start making really real life decisions. They get nostalgic for simpler times, and simpler times to them were the times when they were a child, and that's going to keep driving. So eventually, as crazy as it sounds, there will be a nostalgia boom for I don't know,
aughts.
The aughts. I was trying to think of a specific probably terrible thing.
10 years. The aughts. So I think it also a lot of it factors in on that generation kind of coming into prominence in decision-making roles in companies that have to do with a lot of stuff.
Sure. Well, but again, it's all they're preying on your right when you are at the age where you again need that comforting reassurance of childhood, but you also now have disposable income.
Yep.
Nostalgia.
Yep.
So, unfortunately, what also happens is as these booms go away, people like me now and you, Carl, well, once the nostalgia thing passes us by, we become unmarketable too, and we become dinosaurs, and we might as well not even exist. I'm in marketing. I know how this works.
I think part of us will be okay with that, given how much stuff we've had, because the stuff's still going to be out there, and it's just going to get cheaper.
I'm just saying from a social relevance point. We don't matter anymore.
That's fine.
I'm glad you're okay with this.
I'm okay with not being, thought of by an ad agency. That's okay. I can find my own.
It's bigger than that, but yeah, I feel you. Yeah. It's more, I don't matter anymore. Sad Batman in the swing.
being pushed by Bruce Banner walking away to the set.
Kind of like that. Anyway.
Alrighty. Alan, thank you as always for your questions. Lastly, Mr. Tom Fenzel. This comes with instructions. Read after Drew announces baby.
Good thing we did.
Well, obviously I wouldn't have read the thing. Drew, congrats. I am so happy for you. Everyone will be giving you tons of advice.
Yeah.
Even people who don't have babies. Take it all with a grain of salt, but I do recommend reading the blog my friend and I wrote during our wives' pregnancies. dadsonthefly.wordpress.com.
Noted. Okay, cool.
Let me know what you think of it. Congrats again. So basically, don't listen to anyone's advice except for his.
We trust Tom, though. He's a frequent contributor, so...
if you haven't talked about it, what beers or breweries did you try on your trip?
Oh, I'm so glad someone asked me.
Keep in mind, we've been going for almost an hour already.
You know what? It doesn't even matter.
It's going to be a long show,
It
folks.
doesn't matter.
We haven't been together for 2 weeks.
Exactly. We might not even get into anything besides this right now. I got to go to El Segundo Brewing in El Segundo, California.
Yes.
Now, very apropos name, right? They make the Steve Austin Broken Skull IPA that Stone Cold Steve Austin has made in collaboration because he lives about, a mile away in Marina Del Rey. I did not stalk Stone Cold Steve Austin while I was there, though I did think about it. Anyway, so I went to that brewery and top flight. All their beers were great. I had 3 in the brewery. I brought 2 home in 22 bottles home in the hotel. Drank them both in the hotel. Really good. That's, to be honest, though, that's really all I got to in L.A. There were other ones I wanted to hit up, but again, L.A. traffic and time just got in the way, so couldn't do it. But we did in Seattle. I got up to 3 breweries in Seattle. So one, the Pike Brewing Company, right in the Pike Place Market.
Okay.
They're kind of like what I call, what I would compare to Pearl Street here in Buffalo.
Okay, yeah.
They've got location, they've got notoriety, but their beer was not that good.
Okay.
So they're getting by on reputation and location. Good for you. Your product is not that good. Cloudburst Brewing in Seattle, Washington. Now we're talking. Many a fine beer at Cloudburst in Seattle, including the, all my Seinfeld fans out there will enjoy this, the Jerk Store IPA, which I had, and it was very, very good. And then my friend took us to a place that we both loved. Jen and I both loved. Hellbent Brewing Company in Seattle. Awesome place for a couple reasons. 1, the beers were very good. 2, they had a fish food truck outside, and I got a fish and chips, and my friend got a fish sandwich, and they were fantastic. Most importantly, 3, dog friendly. Dogs outside, dogs roaming inside. Friendly dogs. And they all just mingling in the brewery. It was awesome. I had a great time. So those are the breweries that I got up to out in Seattle. And I'm happy. I don't know if this is going to become like a thing like elsewhere, but my like favorite underappreciated fly under the radar, I really like them, but no one else seems to, style of beer, the Black IPA. Seems to be making a bit of a comeback in California and Seattle. I think every place I just mentioned had a Black IPA on their draft list, and out here back east, you rarely see them anymore. And I'm a big fan, so if they're coming back, I am happy.
For the uninitiated, what is the difference between a Black IPA and a standard IPA?
Standard IPA is going to be very light in color, using just a 2-row malt, maybe a crystal to kind of give it a little amberish hue, depending.
Okay.
Black IPA is what it sounds like. It is black. So they use a roasted. They use your standard light malts as well, but use some roasted malt in it, which gives it a roastier flavor and a black color. When done right, they are excellent, but they're underappreciated, in my opinion. But they seem to be on the rise. this is
Cool.
good. So yeah,
Alrighty.
there you go.
Alrighty. That does it for cross-examination. We thank all of you who contributed. By all means, if you're listening to the show and you enjoy it, and you like these little fun little chats we have, by all means, send us in some questions or comments. If you just want to like say something, well, as long as it's not profanity laced, and
You can do that too.
Yeah,
Whatever.
we're not going to read it.
No.
Well, at least it's going to be edited.
Sure.
So yeah, send us something.
Send us things.
Interact with us. We talk back.
We do.
We like to. All right, so Drew, time to dive into the case files. It's been 2 weeks, so we got some stuff to go over.
Let's do it.
First up, a couple weeks ago, it was announced that the team behind the Street Fighter Assassin's Fist web series / film have entered into a development deal to develop a new Street Fighter television series in which the storyline will be the World Warrior story from Street Fighter 2. They said, I think I read that it will focus primarily on Ryu, Ken, Guile, and Chun-Li. Drew, I am super excited about this. I've said numerous times, not only is Assassin's Fist the best video game film ever made, which granted is a very low bar,
Yeah.
but it's also, at least in my opinion, one of the best domestic martial arts films made in the past 15 to 20 years. It is fantastic. It handles the source material excellently. Everybody involved was a fan of the franchise, of the property, so there's definitely a lot of passion in there. It's just absolutely fantastic. So I am very excited about this to see where they go with it. Hopefully this finds a home and this comes as quickly as possible.
Sounds neat. I've never seen the web series or any of that, but I mean, there's enough in a Street Fighter lore to make a good quality show or movie, and that just hasn't really been done yet. So
over the years, they really
kind
kind of tightened up the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas it's still kind of like, yes, it's a video game story, so it's not War and Peace. It's gone from like, in contrast, Mortal Kombat, when it first came out, had a very defined narrative from the beginning all the way through. And it wasn't until like, recently that Street Fighter's kind of defined what their narrative is and what's canon and what's not. And, so yeah, definitely looking forward to this. And Capcom has said that the Assassin's Fist story is canon.
Okay.
They were so impressed with it. So yeah, it's good.
Cool.
Very good.
Good news.
Okay, so
Van Damme's coming back?
No. Wouldn't mind seeing him in a cameo. Would not knock a cameo. But no.
Okay.
No.
Okay, just checking.
So, Drew,
Mm-hmm.
if there's one thing that has been rumored almost as long as the video game sequel, it's the movie. And apparently the movie is moving forward because, Drew, we have a Duke Nukem.
Oh, the sequel came out.
Yeah, the game sequel came out.
Yes, Duke Nukem Forever finally came out.
But as long rumored as that was, the movie has been in development for so long. And we have a Duke Nukem now, Drew.
Oh?
His name is John Cena.
Oh, wow. It's just going to be guns and sunglasses on the screen. I mean, you can't see him. Put it this way, from a physical standpoint, I see it.
Yeah,
I get
fine.
it.
But do we really need a Duke Nukem movie?
No. See, here's the thing. There's only one way this can go, because Duke Nukem is a very much a product of his time. That time being the early 90s. The only way you can pull this off now would be you'd have to do a tone like the Ash versus Evil Dead series right now, or that kind of thing, where
kind of the Fish Out of Time.
Yes, where Duke can be a misogynistic, blowhard jerk action hero, but he's also the butt of the joke the whole time.
Okay.
That's
much more violent Johnny Bravo.
I guess. I mean, it's really the only way you can make that, because you can't make this guy endearing in this day and age, dude.
Yeah.
It just doesn't play.
Nope.
And right now, there's probably someone out there. It's not fair. There's nothing wrong with that, dude. Look, stop. We cast a wide net here, okay?
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. So, again, I'm not gonna.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
You know.
Eh,
You know.
eh.
You know.
Okay, so also announced last week, Marvel did a little bit of a countdown, and at a certain point, we kind of all knew what they were counting down to. It'd been rumored for a while, but they've made an official announcement. The first family of comics, the Fantastic Four, will be returning
Saw this.
to comics.
Oh yeah, for now.
Yeah, for now.
Uh-huh. This is called brand rehab, Carl.
Yeah.
This is how it starts.
How does brand rehab work, Drew?
Well, you know how everyone really, really hated the Fantastic Four after that terrible, terrible movie came out?
Justifiably so.
Well, Marvel let me put it this way. The conspiracy theory is that Marvel canceled the Fantastic Four in spite of Fox so that they could no longer provide them with free ammunition to make movies.
Yeah.
Same reason why they told the X-Men writers you can't create any new characters, because if you do, they get to get used in movies, and we are no longer going to be a free content factory for stuff we can't control.
Yeah.
Movie studios we can't control. So if you believe that they canceled the comic to spite Fox, the fact that they're bringing it back now tells me that something be a brewing. If you don't believe that, then Marvel was actually really smart and said, we're going to cancel the comic and make everyone forget entirely about the Fantastic Four as much as we can.
Yep.
And then when the stink wears off a little, we're going to rekindle the fire. Either way, they're rekindling the fire, and everyone's excited, everyone's happy, and we're going to get the Fantastic Four back, and suddenly we're not going to care about that movie anymore. It's gone, it's forgotten, and the first family is returning, and we're all going to feel real good about it, because not for nothing, I did see the team that they put on it, and it's really good.
Yes, Dan Slott's writing it.
Yeah,
so.
and who's the artist on it? The guy who did the Spider-Man? Is that the one who... Girl, actually. Is it Sarah
Don't
Pacelli?
know. Think so.
Hey, good artist.
Yeah. Marvel doesn't feel right without the Fantastic Four.
No.
Even though it's not necessarily a comic I've always read.
I've always loved that they're there.
Yeah.
They're just, if you follow Marvel, they're just there.
Yeah.
They're the Fantastic Four. They have to be there.
Yeah, and they have their fans, and so I'm sure the book will get support.
The Mark Waid Waringo run is fantastic.
Or?
Hmm?
You said it's fantastic.
Yeah, ha. No pun intended. Yes, the Mark Waid Waringo run from like 15 years ago. I know it goes back a ways, folks, but that run is just among the best.
Good stories are timeless.
Among the best. I loved it.
Yeah. So, do you feel in the next 5 years, do you think we see a Fantastic Four film?
Yes.
A Marvel Studios Fantastic Four film.
Definitely.
All right.
Book it. The only thing that'll change that is if the merger doesn't get the sale gets shot down.
Yeah.
If that happens, well, here we are.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think that I've already said, man, I think that deal is already in play. I think behind the scenes, they've already got the pieces on the board. They're just waiting for the go ahead.
Yep. Hopefully they have the original trilogy unaltered Blu-rays already printed, waiting in a warehouse.
It's like the Sega Saturn. It's already in stores.
Yes. There will be a Carl-shaped hole in the wall of whatever room I'm in.
Oh, fantastic.
All right, so next thing we have is... don't. That movie was a...
Right when you thought you forgot about it.
Was a dick punch to my soul.
That is the gateway to the soul, from what I understand.
I mean, it's so bad.
It is.
It's so bad. No, you don't know. This is kind of like you...
I've seen bits and pieces of it. It's not a thing I would ever watch.
No, don't ever.
That's like really missing the boat.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Rogue One dodged a bullet when they got rid of Josh Trank.
Yeah. So has everyone from that movie basically ruined their careers besides Michael B. Jordan?
No,
No.
because Miles Teller, is still doing good films.
Okay.
That was a misstep for him. Kate Mara was in House of Cards, and I'm not sure if that was pre or post House of Cards.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think probably the only one is the guy who played the Thing. Yeah. So yeah,
Okay. Fair enough.
that is out there somewhere. Yep.
Let's
Okay.
not talk about that anymore.
So, Drew, we have discussed in the past, even though there's a lot of great content out there right now to consume.
There's too much content.
Yeah, there's definitely too much.
I'm drowning in content.
There's a rising annoyance of this streaming service and that streaming service.
Yeah, there's too many.
You're $10 here, $10 there, whatnot. And so it's nice when a streaming service that you clearly have no interest in comes along. You can say, no, thanks, I'm good. And then they come out with something where you're like, dang it.
This is how they get you.
Can we talk about Cobra Kai?
I'd like to.
Because
It looks better than it has any right to look, dude.
it really does.
It shouldn't be. This shouldn't even be a thing, but it is. It looks good.
It looks good. It's coming out on YouTube Red.
I'm not paying for it, but it looks good.
Yeah. I had an epiphany revealed to me by a podcast recently. I think it's like this past week or whatnot. Serious problems that I never knew I had with the first two Karate Kid movies
Okay.
were shed to light.
Okay.
New stuff has come to light.
New stuff's coming to light. Go on.
There is no way. There is no way. I can't believe I never thought about this. There is no way, Drew, that Daniel LaRusso should have won any fight in either one of those movies.
But he did.
There is no way. Because
yet here we are.
Because, okay, in the first Karate Kid, he is training from... They established that he has a little bit of background, but it's like YMCA karate.
Yeah.
But that's like you showing me how to do a fireball in Street Fighter and then telling me to go compete in Evo.
Maybe you're a natural. You just pick up on it.
No, you need more than that. So he's training with Mr. Miyagi for what? A month, maybe?
It's got to be at least the beginning of the school year till the dance, right? So
It's maybe 2 months.
okay, so you got 2 months of training.
So you're telling me
Look,
this kid with 2 months of training, granted intense training, goes to a full contact tournament.
Yeah.
Where were those happening? And beats
in All Valley in California.
and beats
Fresno.
in ascending order kids who have been training in this martial art.
Wait, we don't know how long they were training. We don't know
Drew,
that. You don't know that. You don't know that.
Drew.
You don't know that.
Stop.
They could have been amateurs too.
No. They were all like black belts. The lowest rank I saw was a brown belt.
It's unclear.
And he goes through them all. No.
Look.
Now we get to Karate Kid Part 2.
He got hot at the right time.
Which is even a more egregious offense to the practitioners of the martial arts.
Okay.
Because he goes to Okinawa.
Yeah.
He goes to Japan.
I know. I love that movie.
He goes to like where karate came from in a lot of ways.
Uh-huh.
And he faces a guy who was like been practicing this. He probably, to quote the podcast I heard this from, he probably kicked his way out of the womb.
Maybe.
He's been practicing this this kid. Chozen is karate. And how does he beat him?
He's blinded by rage.
No!
Look,
this kind of broke the movies for me. Kind of like when you realized that Indiana Jones is completely inconsequential to Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes, he is.
So yeah, but that aside,
I still love these movies. So I hear you. I don't care.
Cobra Kai, like Okay, for those of you who don't know, the story picks up 34 years later.
Yeah.
Daniel Russo has become, from everything that they're showing, he's kind of like a joke of his former.
He's cashing in on his popularity. That's all.
He has like a chain of car dealerships.
Yeah.
And Johnny Lawrence has fallen on,
hard times.
He turns out he's kind of the quintessential peaked in high school.
Yep.
And then something happens and he decides to reopen the Cobra Kai dojo.
Yeah.
Why
It
does
looks good.
it look this good?
I don't know, dude. It just does. It looks good. Now, granted, there's probably kids out there that have seen this trailer that's like, I don't get it. I don't care because you didn't see the Karate Kid movie.
Yeah, you didn't
so
grow
there's
up with it.
this movie. Remember we talked about nostalgia?
Yeah.
This is probably stroking our fire just right. But still, on paper, I would say we're going to bring back the Karate Kid and it's going to be about Johnny. And I might be like, it's a little on the nose. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do we really need to go there? There's not. But here we are with the trailers that I've seen for this show, and it's like, this looks kind of cool. I want to see this. I need to see this.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
I know. But I want to see it.
It's William Zabka. It's Ralph Macchio.
I know. I want to see it. I got it. It's YouTube, man. I'm not going to pay you, but I want to see this show.
Sure, there will be ways to see it. Dang, they've put out a couple trailers now. It looks.
They have my interest.
Yes.
They definitely have my interest.
Yes.
So yeah.
If this was a film, I'd probably be there opening weekend.
Oh yeah, me too.
So that's that. Last piece of news. Drew, a couple episodes ago, we discussed the DC Black Label.
Yes.
Coming out.
Yes.
Some more details have come out about this.
Oh, yeah?
And here's one that probably the only one that really bears mentioning.
Okay.
Which is one that's a real head scratcher, Drew.
Go on.
And of course, it involves Frank Miller.
This is my shocked face.
As he gingerly sips his water.
Shocked.
Go
on.
I've said in the past, Frank Miller is probably my all-time favorite comic book writer, but I've also admitted that his quality since Dark Knight Strikes Again has been in steep decline.
Mm-hmm.
Picked up a little bit with Dark Knight 3, but that wasn't 100% him.
Mm-mm.
So, aside from the Superman Year One, which I'm genuinely interested in and want to see, Frank Miller is going to be doing a Carrie Kelly series for DC. Not only that, Frank Miller is going to be doing a Carrie Kelly young adult theme series for DVD. I don't think Frank knows what young adult means.
That's a bad idea.
Because
that's a bad idea.
Because, folks,
that's a bad idea. I don't want young adults being exposed to Frank Miller's current incarnation.
Yeah.
That's like, hey kids, here's my drunk uncle. He's kind of racist. Go talk to him for a while.
Do you think?
No.
Do you think maybe he thought it was porn?
Oh, you went there. You dear. No.
Because if you're familiar with his work that is, revered and held up, like Dark Knight Returns, Sin City, his run on Daredevil, he can write strong women. But
yes, but he can also write them very tropey and stereotypically too.
Well, I don't think it's a trope or stereotype if you're the one that invented it.
I'll nod in
begrudging.
I'm not going to call it agreement, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So,
young adult series, huh? Yeah, that's a bad call. But I got this weird feeling that someone in the DC office is going to regret that decision when those scripts start coming in.
It's like someone tells you where a car accident's going to happen, a really bad car accident. You can't help but kind of want to watch.
I'm good. I'm all good here.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll surprise us.
I'm hoping the surprise will be the Superman Year One series. I'm hoping that we have a return to form for Frank. I'm partially amazed he's still with us.
Yeah, he does not look good.
Yeah, there was, I think I mentioned this in a previous episode, there was a picture of him. He recently did a signing with Stan Lee. This was like maybe
A couple years ago.
not a couple years ago. It was like midway point of last year.
All right, fair enough.
And there was a picture of both of them at the table. And Frank looked older than Stan.
Yeah, that's
Frank Miller, I think, is 56 years old.
yeah. Stan's
Stanley's
94.
94.
All I could think of is Hans Moleman.
Yeah. That's kind of what he looks like. I mean, clearly.
Alcohol has ruined my life. I'm only 30 years old.
Yeah, because he was hard living, drinking, smoking. I mean, clearly, there had to be some sort of cancer in there somewhere that he's
Yeah, he ain't saying, but
got to
yeah.
be in recovery of. Especially if you saw recent pictures of him, he looked like an unfortunate cancer patient. So I'm hoping that if that was the case, that he has recovered and has his faculties back about him, and we ever return to a pre-Dark Knight Strikes Again Frank Miller. So that's a good Frank Miller.
Good luck. Good. I
know.
I wouldn't look for it, but I can hope for it.
I'm holding out hope, but yeah.
Yeah.
Frank Miller Young Adult Series. Hashtag phrases you never thought you would say in real life.
Oh man. Yeah, that's something there. Good luck with all that.
Yeah. And Carrie Kelly, the character was okay in Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
But there's that's one of those characters that DC's always kind of tried to make a thing. And she works in Dark Knight Returns. That's about it.
I mean, I admire the consistency at least. She shows up in Dark Knight Strikes Again. She's in Dark Knight 3, where she actually is kind of a Batman, and that. I mean, I dig it. It works. There's continuity there.
Yeah.
We don't really get as much of her background though, and why she gravitates to Batman and why she chose to kind of take up arms with him and stuff. So if they're going to cover some of that, maybe it could be good.
Okay. You know what series I've always kind of wanted to see from that kind of world, so to speak? I would love to see a Sons of Batman series.
Maybe. Could be interesting.
Especially given, I think it was a couple months in between when the nuke detonated and, how they controlled Gotham City, kind of reestablished order in Gotham City, kind of tell tales from that.
Could be neat. There could be some fertile ground there.
Yeah. The only other news thing I can really think of kind of took place today, and we're just going to do a drive-by the DC film dumpster fire. Because as I said to Alan and Drew in our chat, there's a point where this is going to stop being funny, but we're not quite there yet. It turns out that the Flash solo film entitled Flashpoint...
They announced it.
Yes.
Jeff Johns himself said it.
Is no longer going to be called Flash.
Of course not. Because the movie's not going to happen.
It's
not happening.
They've said that it doesn't necessarily mean the story is changing. It's just the title is not going to be Flashpoint. And them announcing anything about this movie amounts to a hill of beans in this world.
It's not happening.
I know. And
it's not going to happen.
I'm right there with you.
I'm at the point now where I'm like, once Aquaman is released,
Shazam.
But that doesn't count. That's it.
Yeah.
Everyone is moving on. I guarantee it.
Yep.
Cavill, he's got other stuff going on.
And that's
Fleck has let go. He don't care.
Yeah.
That's Gal Gadot's a star now because of Wonder Woman. That'll keep happening.
Yeah.
They will make the second one there. But I would bet that it doesn't reference anything outside of itself.
There's a great YouTube channel I've discovered recently called Toy Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'm gonna try and get the host, shoot a message. Hey, wanna
come play with us.
They did it. They released a video today, and I tweeted in our feed about why you can't fix the DC movie universe, and it's really good, really good insight.
Yeah, it's foundationally broken. You can't. You gotta put it away for a little while and hope everyone forgets, and then start strong.
Yeah, which is the thing I regret most about it is that we won't get more Cavill as Superman, because he is a truly great Supermans are few and far between. And
when he finally shows up in the end of Justice League, I buy him.
Yeah,
wholesale.
Justice League fixed everything they broke about Superman and Man of Steel.
It took a little while to do it.
Yeah.
But yes, they did.
Yeah.
Eventually.
So, yeah. All right, so that is the news.
That's the news.
Been going for a little while now.
Oh, let's check that timer. Well, I mean, this is about the average episode length right here. We could keep pressing on if you wanted.
We can press on, or we can just kind of do a double end of series recap next week.
Your call.
I leave it up to you, sir, because you're the one who's got a lot of stuff going on. You got a lot of irons in the fire right now.
Oh, that's going to change. I'm sure it's all going to settle soon. No,
See, folks, this is how much we care about you, our listening audience. We bring you behind the curtains of the decision-making process here at the Devil's Due.
I'll tell you what. I'm reaching for the notes.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's just
Because
do this thing. Light this candle.
rustle the papers. I actually think we can get through this one fairly quickly because, Drew, I don't have a lot of notes on this episode.
I do and I don't. So you want me to just scattershot this?
Well, we're on episode 12 of The Punisher.
That's correct.
This episode is entitled Home. We're one episode away from the season finale.
All right, I'm just going to throw some stuff at you. You can tell me. You can bounce here.
What do you got?
All right. Some observations from this episode. So this episode is basically all about rescuing Micro's family.
Yeah.
And getting Frank in position to finally off Billy and Agent Orange Rollins.
Yeah. In normal network television, this will be part one of a two-parter.
Okay.
Because I feel it bleeds very well with the final episode.
All right. So my observations of said episode. First off, Frank's portrayal here by Bernthal. When he's good, he's good, but sometimes it irks me.
Okay.
I think he gets too emotional and too twitchy and kind of too emotional, too twitchy, too snarky. So in the beginning, when he's doing the interview with Madani, he's just... I like my Frank very glib, very blunt,
yeah,
and very cold.
And we get that later in the episode.
We do. So maybe it's going to take a minute to get there. This is still sort of proto-Punisher, although it shouldn't be based on Daredevil Season 2. But we've covered that ground already.
Yep.
That's one observation I have. The other observation I have is... well, several actually, but... Rollins, for a villain, he's good.
He's very good.
He's very unlikable.
I think the villains, Rollins, Billy, the villains were done very well in this season.
Everyone's got proper motivation, and it works. It works well. But Donnie's really not good at being a field agent.
How so?
Well, we're back at the docks again. Where bad things always seem to happen. And they have the little exchange with Micro's family for Frank and Micro.
Yeah.
And then naturally, out of nowhere, Madani shows up, guns blazing, and we have ourselves a shootout, and agents are killed, and we gotta...
Well, I think the whole point of that was to get Micro out of there.
Yeah.
So they don't... I think that was more of a show for anything else.
Guys died!
Yeah, well, it was a good show.
Agents died!
Well,
She's...
I know.
Rafi, buddy. You gotta rein her in.
She gets... It's easy to push her buttons.
Yes, it is. We do get that.
I still like the character, though.
It's fine. I'm just saying. Let's see here. Also, she's very lucky that Russo has a soft spot for her.
Yeah.
Because he had everyone dead to rights and chose to instead take out their tires.
Yeah.
Boy, that's convenient.
Yep.
Especially
when you have a 50 caliber sniper rifle, because ain't no vest going to stop that.
Yeah. So, especially considering that Russo probably thought that Micro was dead. So, at what point would he bother? If he could line up his wife and his kids and Madani in one shot and just start blowing them away, why wouldn't he?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Seems a little... Again, there's a lot of conveniences in this episode, and that kind of took me out of it a bit. But again...
It kind of makes you wonder if Russo is villain by choice or villain by circumstance.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both.
Because if Rollins is in that position, he takes down Madonna.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everyone, for that matter.
So, nature versus nurture, I guess, when it comes to Billy.
Well, that's a lucky thing, number one.
Yeah.
Lucky thing, number two, Frank is lucky that there's dissension between Rollins and Russo at a very pivotal moment when Frank is probably about to be killed.
Yes.
Good boy. That's some good timing there. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Frank gets punched into dream sex.
Yeah. Hey, whatever, man. Do what you got to do. In real life, by the way, Frank's face would be pulverized.
Much, much broken.
He would be hamburger.
Yeah.
So, and also, while we're on that subject,
spitting up a lot of blood throughout. But,
yeah, but I mean, he literally.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
Let me tell you what. Flesh is soft. You don't appreciate how soft it is until it gets mangled.
Yeah.
And if you pound on someone like that long enough, you are going to mangle the crap out of them.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of unrealistic damage, there's a point in this episode where Frank takes a shiv and stabs Rollins in the heart. And he comes up not too...
It's a little high for the heart.
Fair enough.
Probably got him right above the lung.
And for a guy who just got shivved, he comes out of it, pretty on his feet and ready to keep doing some damage to Frank.
Yeah, I mean, his adrenaline's going too, so
I guess.
I'm not saying it's perfect, but no, I get what you're saying.
He got stabbed and bit.
Yeah, I mean, well, a bite it hurts, and then
you could do some damage with a bite, son.
Frank gave him the Mike Tyson treatment.
Those are just my nitpick observations.
Yeah.
Now, the biggest overall thing, though, here that I don't want to say, I guess I do have a problem with it. The visions and the flashback / dream sequences. This is Frank's, this is his dilemma, his choice, his point of no return, right?
It's like he kind of feels that he's coming to the end of it. He kind of knows going into this that he's probably not going to make it out alive.
Yeah.
So
now
that kind of plays into the punishment he's taking, which makes a nice mixture of delusional cocktail.
Now, I feel like I feel like these flashbacks needed a stinger. They needed some kind of, and I think I might have said this on the show before, they needed a moment where, to subvert the audience expectations, or just to show Frank's real commitment to what he's about to do and what he's about to become. When he's near death and he's got to make that final choice, and Maria's like, "Come with me," and that which implies let yourself die, join me, and yay, we're dead together and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Or he can go keep doing what he's going to do, which is punish and whatnot.
That moment for me was very reminiscent of The Crow. Yeah,
a little bit. My thought, though, is he chooses the punishment. He chooses to stay. And now, but what I might... it's tough. It's tough because it could be interpreted the wrong way, but what I would have liked to have seen is he chooses to stay, and then they cut back to her, and she, it's not her. It's a skull on a face. It's death or something like that. And he's either taken aback by it, or more. What I'd really like to see is we subvert all your expectations, and he's known that all along, and he's going headlong into. He is committed to being what he is, because what ends up happening in the episode is he chooses to stay. They let their hands separate. But then later on, after he kills Rollins, he's laying on the ground and he sees her reflection in the blood. Mm-hmm. And, to the viewer, it's kind of implied he regrets his decision, or what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that.
I would have preferred a full-on depiction of...
You want your skull cowboy.
I want commitment to the cause.
Yeah.
I want him to fully embrace his war, and that's what it is. The family's put to bed.
Yep.
And he's okay with that. Also, I see what they're doing here with the tying Billy Russo to the origin a little bit. Having him be involved but not involved with...
Well, I mean, that's we kind of already knew. We as the viewing audience knew that, but Frank didn't know that. So you have to have that moment where, Frank probably suspects it,
Yeah.
but just has to confirm it. Because I think deep down at this point, Frank wants an excuse to not kill Billy.
Yeah.
I think there's still that small part of him that wants to save that relationship.
Yeah. There is. They're brothers from,
But, like the second
service and whatnot.
The second Billy said he knew about it, yeah.
So I know what they were going for. I kind of prefer. Again, I'm a Punisher fan, and I'm comparing it to things I know, but I don't know that I need the origin to be made personal. I kind of miss the anonymity of it and the random chaos of it.
Yeah, it's the thing that we've talked about in the past. The problem that comics and a lot of extra medium film and television are running into is that not everything has to be connected. There's like if you put a reason behind Thomas and Martha Wayne getting gunned down in that alley, you lose a lot of what makes Batman. I think the same could be said for the Punisher. If once you take away that it was
the chaotic element,
just a crossfire between two mobs, and they just happened to be in the wrong place in the wrong time. And turned them into being the target, and just I think I don't think that really services the character. But again, that's kind of the rut that a lot of these narratives find themselves in, is that the need to connect everything.
And I've been railing against that for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of the point where I got where it I became cognizant of it, and
The prequels
and I guess it was the prequels.
Yeah.
You're right. And then in comics, I think it was Batman Zero Year, actually. It drove me insane.
Yeah, 0 year.
I had to have a whole issue about Gordon's trench coat because that needed an origin, apparently.
Yeah.
But and Star Wars, you're right. The prequels were kind of the
because in that like everything.
Yeah, we got to show you where everything comes from. It's like this whole vast galaxy, and everything happens to like 40 people.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah,
branch it out, man. You've got all this limitless potential.
Yep. So, so that was this episode. Next week,
there you go. That was pretty good.
I have two questions one question, one thought about this character.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, next week we will get to the finale of The Punisher, and then after that, we're going to do a Jessica Jones Season 1 recap before we dive into Jessica Jones Season 2, which I have watched completely.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it.
Okay.
A lot.
Spoilers.
So, I think for these Netflix shows, if you want to do a Defender Season 2...
Which they're not doing.
Which has not been announced yet.
No one seems very confident that it will happen, but go on.
I think if you want to do a Defender Season 2, you do a Defenders versus the Punisher. You do a longer season, like 10 episodes. The first 5 are the Defenders versus the Punisher. At this point, Fisk is out, and Fisk arranges for this clash to happen in one way or another.
Okay.
Because then you get, we get to see Frank be Frank, and Defenders doing cool stuff. And then the second half of the season is just like the classic superheroes. We fought, we had a misunderstanding, that's been resolved, let's go after the real bad guy. I think that's kind of what you do.
I think I like Frank in Daredevil Season 2, but now that he's been kind of put in his own little corner, I like him in his own little corner. I don't know that I need him to rub up against these other characters anymore.
See, I kind of want him to. But then again, that's where we've always kind of differed on the Punisher. Is you prefer the Punisher outside of the traditional Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And I didn't used to be that way until I read it, and it just became it just works better for me.
And I prefer him inside because I feel if you can make him work and make him good inside that, it makes for a better story.
I just feel
I think it's easier to write the Punisher outside of the Marvel universe. You're not constrained by certain rules and universal guidelines you have to follow.
It's just hard to make him into some kind of hero with those other characters. It just
Maybe he's not supposed to be a hero.
No,
which brings
but
me to my question about the character.
Yeah.
In this day and age we live in with a lot of stuff going on in the world, and the Punisher character being, you can make the argument, being more relevant than ever, for better or for worse.
Arguably.
Should Marvel kill the Punisher? And I don't mean kill him in like a big event thing, make it a big flashy thing. I mean just like a way you'd expect him to go.
Well,
and kind of like
they've killed him twice in the comics.
Well,
so
yeah, but the first time he comes back as Frankencastle. It's
no, I'm not talking about that. You. No one cares about that. I'm talking about Punisher: The End by Garth Ennis, which is tremendous. It's bleak, but it's actually perfectly fitting for the character. And there's also, he dies in the Punisher Max run that Jason Aaron continued after Garth Ennis left. And he dies there too. And again, his character meets a grisly and fitting end.
But again, we get back to him being in the
MCU, of course, or I'm sorry, in Marvel Comics, where he's, I don't know. I mean, kill him. Why? Why kill him? So they don't have to deal with potential fallout from him anymore?
Not so much that. I don't know. I think it'd make for a really good story to see like what the hero community's response would be to something like that, because
I don't think they'd care if he died.
I disagree.
I
don't think they're gonna have like a hero's funeral or something like that.
No, they won't.
But like when you kind of look at the landscape of the way things are going in Marvel Comics right now, whereas 15, 20 years ago and all the time prior to that, the Marvel universe was centered on New York City.
Yeah.
It's very much not that anymore. You've got your street level heroes, Defenders, Spider-Man, things like that are still very city centric, but like the ones, your Avengers, your Black Panther, things like that, they are not New York centric anymore.
No.
I don't know. I just think there's a story there, a really good story there that can be told, and it's a character that, I mean, you can kind of justify it because it's not like he's breaking any sales records or anything.
No, I suppose
it's
So you want to kill him off?
It's not that I want to. I just think like I'm always, if you can make a good story out of it, I'll listen to you.
I don't know. I guess it could be done. There could be something interesting there. But I feel like he's not going to meet a good end. Like
no, it can't. Like I said, it can't be like a heroic.
That's not really a story
that
needs to be told, I guess, because it's, I don't know, it's kind of bleak in a bad,
it is
in an unfun way.
I think there's a way you can do that and make it fit into the Marvel Comics universe and make it like relevant. Like I can see, obviously he doesn't get a funeral per se, but I can kind of see like the last couple pages, maybe, Peter and Matt meeting up and sharing a drink. And they just like carve the skull into the unmarked tomb.
I don't know. I'm just not sure that they would mourn him like that.
I think they would.
I don't see it. But anyway.
Well, dear listeners, tell us what you think. Should the Punisher be killed in the comics and stay dead for at least as long as Wolverine stayed dead?
It's been a while.
I thought he was going to be back within a year. It's been like 5 years.
Yeah, but they got old man Logan running around, and they've got his kid with claws. They got two kids with claws. I know it's not, but they got the Wolvie fix running around.
So, dear listener, if you'd like to communicate with us, tell us your opinions on this, tell us your opinion on the show The Punisher, send us questions, interact with us. We always welcome it. You can find us on Twitter at Devils Do Pod. You can find us on Facebook.com/Devils Do Pod. You can email us at thedevilsdupod@gmail.com, or you can find all these resources available to you on our website, thedevilsdupodcast.com. Drew, that being said, any closing thoughts?
Don't install new flooring in your house if you live in the house. That's my advice to you.
Yeah, I mean, I can...
Carl, I took 20 long boxes down the stairs.
Hey, I gave you a
20
I gave you a
boxes.
method of doing that would not have been as painful. You chose not to do it.
I'm not sliding my comics down the stairs.
I didn't see you're simplifying what I proposed.
It's your proposal. Slide around the stairs. That's crazy. You'll bang the books up that way.
No, not the way I proposed it.
Okay. Well, I got my leg day in. And
you got like month in. Probably.
Yes.
Newer ones are heavier too, because they got that premium paper.
I think I'm switching to short boxes soon.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
More trips on the stairs, though. See,
yeah,
you see, column A, column B, lighter load, more trips.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Exercise.
Just can't win.
Okay, folks. Thank you very much again for joining us. Please share, retweet, get the word out about the show. We definitely appreciate it. Thank you again for joining us. Court